is pronounced liquid. Top of the rainbow, I am your host, LaQueer, the host of, I said that twice, the host of Topics of Cancer, where we talk about queer topics all the queer time. Why? Because we need to, from the bird's eye view of a Cancerian perspective of the world. Yes, yes, yes. I'm kind of in distress because I was doing a recording. My computer, in the middle of it, decided that it wanted to stop. I was on a roll. I thought that it captured it, but it didn't. And it pissed me off because it was some great content. I had to end up deleting it. I thought I saved it. Did another one, which was a continuation of the first one. So now I'm re-recording the first one here. That was a lot. Anyway, it just brings it all into perspective of what I was speaking about. So today's topic is going to be why. The question that we are all afraid to ask, because in reality, it defines who we are. It gets to the core of the whole matter. Now, I can go into depth of what it is that I talked about, but I spoke so much in the second part of it. The first part, which is the part that you're listening to now, is just going to be a cover of a reconstructed short variation of what I was speaking about. And mainly, let's talk on relationships, right? And I'm not talking about with your partner, with family, anything like that. However, it does include them. But let's talk about the relationship with herself. How is your relationship with yourself? The majority of us would say, "I'm cool. I'm all right." But how do you take care of yourself when you're upset? How do you take care of yourself when you don't get your way? How do you take care of yourself when you don't understand the contents of someone else's box? Do you try to take it out and examine it? Or do you leave it in there? Do you just try to find a way to implement yourself in there? Okay, if you don't understand what it is that I'm saying, when I speak of contents of someone else's box, when you're speaking of someone or even to yourself, what exactly goes through your mind during that time? Now, I will say this again, I am not a psychiatrist. I'm just a melanated queen doing her thing with a deep, profound understanding of how the mind works. Man, I have to tell you this. I have been going through some things, and it would not be me if I didn't explain or let you guys just come along the journey with me to explore the caveats of the nooks and crannies of my world. And I have got to tell you this. I've been tried a lot. And it's just been a lot of things that have been going on. And the main thing that I can say is that my struggle bubble has been bubbling up. Okay. And I would like to contribute to the majority of them, which is the books that I've been reading, which helped me out. And that is a couple of them now. I have this habit of reading a book halfway through it and then stopping and starting another one. I'm trying to learn how to read one book at a time. Some people can read multiples, but I like to dissect things. And the book that I'm reading right now is Don't Believe Everything You Think. The other one is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And when I say that, and it's wonderful, I'm glad I can be on this platform. I can say just exactly how it is that I feel. Those two in conjunction, man, they are awesome. They're awesome reads. They're for anyone who is an overthinker. And if you read it in the way that I spoke of them, you read the overthinking, the art, not the overthinking, the if you go and you read the Don't Believe Everything You Think, and then you go into The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, it would teach you why you overthink the way that you think, that overthinking is okay for you, and that at the end of the day, everybody Everybody does it. Everybody does it. Embrace your struggles. That is today's mantra. Today's mantra for the rest of the year: embrace your struggles, because you rather have them than somebody else's. That's all I have to say. I, Matter of fact, you rather have struggles than have nothing at all. Because if you don't have any struggles, you will be bored out of your mind. If you understand what it is that I'm saying, because struggles is what creates character, what invents your tenacity, your valor, and conversation. It constructs your characteristics, personality, good. And we're only speaking about the good because there is bad as well. Anywho, so what I really wanted to tap onto with the few minutes that I do have, because when I said I went into the other one and it was short before I got cut off, I was just mainly speaking about the question, why? And if there was a answer to all the whys that were asked, would you read that book? Seriously. I believe the majority of us, or the majority of us, do not want to go down that road. And how I know is because some of the situations that we're in is because we didn't ask why. We just did it. You understand? If you understand that on this road of healing, on this road of wellness, rather, we will always question why. The why is the root cause to the whole situation. You may think, again, and I use this analogy, you may think that it is just a dish in the sink, but it is more to it. Way, way more to it. All right, so sorry about that interruption there. Anywho, back to what I was saying. So, if there was a book of answers to the questions of why, would you read it? Is where I believe I would left off at. And that whenever you ask a question, the answer to that question has to have some type of meaning or interpretation to it. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. What I'm stating is that typically when you ask a question, it's because you want to either know one or two things: be nosy as hell or want to receive deeper information from it. Now, this goes out to all of those who have been told they've been overthinkers or been, just overthinkers. I'm not talking about nosy people, because I don't consider myself to be nosy. And I'll go in a little bit of depth about that. When I say I don't consider myself to be nosy, I'm not going to ask a question with the intention, because even nosy people have an intention on asking something, and that is to be nosy or in somebody else's business to spread the gossip. Not the gospel, but the gossip anyway. Typically, when there's a question that I ask because there's an answer that I want to know that I probably already have a understanding or a guess about, I just want clarification on it. Basically, is um, what it is that I am speaking on. So when I was reading those collection of books, I was sitting down and I was thinking, and we have these layers, which is another topic that I will be shooting on. We have these layers of our journey, our self wellness journey. Okay, our journey to wellness. Rather say, don't want to say healing because it's kind of not only cliche, but there's more things that goes to it than that. But it's the journey to healing. Okay. And so when we're on this journey to healing, there's going to be some things that you're going to have to face about yourself. And those things would consider the deep question of why. And one of the main things that I would ask myself now, whenever I want to ask a question, whether it be to my mate, to a friend, or anyone else, or even if it's just me having a self thought, why are you having this thought? What was it that triggered you to have this thought? Now, a lot of people have told you this, and this is one of the main things in therapy. Why are you thinking the way that you are thinking? Now, I'm not saying that if you can figure that out, you don't need therapy. I believe that everyone does need therapy and that it helps and that there are people that is designed to help you. I'm only speaking on the positive note of it. I understand that there's always two sides to a coin. However, I am directing this to the positive notations of it. So there are people who are designed to help you to break down your why. The other thing about it is that you have to do the work yourself as well. And that is holding yourself accountable and having the responsibility to be honest for yourself, to be able to hold and save space for yourself, to be selfish to others so that you can take care of you. Now, what does that all have to do with today's cast or podcast? Well, again, as I stated, the question why will always help you figure out who it is that you are truly. And again, I was laying in the bed next to my mate, and there was some things that was going on, some thoughts that going through my head. And I have to tell you this. Again, like I said, we've been conditioned to our habits in some ways, okay, shape or form. And my habit was being afraid to openly speak what exactly is going on within my mind. Now, I've always wanted to have a companion, platonic or romantic, that I'm able to speak freely without character judgment. And there are times when that does happen, and there's times when it does not. It's just how you act after that situation has presented itself. So now, what I do is I think to myself, especially sometimes, and let me just pencil this here. People will show you how they want to be treated. People will show you how they want to be talked to. People will show you how they want whatever it is that will make them happy, suitable, and that is obtainable for them to understand the information that they are gaining from you. Just remember that. So what I've learned in the past is can't speak up, can't speak my mind if I do speak. And let me just say this. When I'm speaking about speaking my mind, I'm not speaking of it in a negative way. It could just be a question that I have to have deeper knowledge and gaining of understanding of something that's presenting itself that's unknown to my knowledge. Okay. So what I would do now is I would think before I ask the question, and I tell anybody this here, I would give myself at least a 3-day grace period, right? Before I even actually go into the question that I am going to present myself, because I want to make sure that the context that I'm using is understandable not only for me, but for the other person. Because I believe that comprehension and communication is a broken dialect within the human race. And I believe we are the only species that can articulate and form words and speak and learn different languages. Yet, we still have not learned how to effectively communicate or understand each other. And this has been before the beginning of time, if you really think about it. We just choose to dissect what it is that we know and take it from there. Instead of actively engaging in a conversation and allowing it to just be. And I've learned that over the time. It took me a while to stop ruminating. And I know it's just a lot of things that people can tell you what not to do. But the best thing that you can do is to but the best thing that you can do is not to, but to, okay? Ask yourself why. And if you can't ask yourself why you can't ask yourself why. And within asking yourself why, you would understand the underlying root or root, as my grandmother would say, of the situation. See, what I've learned through the past years from the different partners that I've involved myself with, male and female, is that I was searching for someone with a depth that only I myself possess, that only I myself can uncover, which is me. I could not find anyone that would levitate to the understanding of who I am. Once I grasped that concept and that understanding, now it was my responsibility to accept the fact that I may not ever find an individual as such, and I never will, because there is only one me. I'm designed particularly in the way that I am designed by the Creator who designed me. So, with that being said, however I think, however I act, whatever it is that I so choose to do, good or bad, whatever stems from it, always remember this: there is no right or wrong, just projection and what is it? Projection and provision. Yeah, I believe that's what it is. Projection and provision. Okay. In other words, it's only consequences. Okay. So to effectively get to the why of who you are, you have to understand that there will be consequences. You might find something about yourself that you don't like. You might find yourself finding out that maybe the person that I am with is not the person that I really truly want to be with. You might find yourself like, you know what? Yeah, I allowed that person to manipulate me, to use vulgar language, to violate me. And when I say violate, I must say I'm not speaking if it is against your will. I'm speaking as placing their hands on you, hitting you, love taps is what I'm speaking about. In no way, shape, or form am I agreeing with the fact that rape, molestation, or anything is right. It is morally sound wrong in all aspects, shapes, sizes, and forms, such as anything that has to do with anyone being vulgar with you. No one should ever dehumanize a human being for no reason whatsoever. If you ever feel that what someone said to you affected your character, it demeaned you, humanized you, belittled you, or made you feel any way, shape, or form, no matter how little it is, always remember there's no right or wrong, only consequences. And from that little insignificant thing that happened will grow a bush, a plant, a hedge that you're going to either have to cut. And if you cut, it's going to always grow back, but you're going to have to always dig it from the root to get to the solution, to dead it all. Just wanted to say that there. So, in saying that, we have to come to an understanding that it's going to be times where we're not going to get the right answers, or the answers basically not the right answer, but the answer that we want to hear, and be comfortable with that. We are going to have to train our minds, train our thoughts, train our self conversation, the conversations we have with ourselves, to be trusted with ourselves. And knowing that even not trusting yourself is trusting yourself. And you want to know why? Because you're trusting yourself that you don't trust yourself. You believe yourself enough that I don't trust myself for whatever reason it is. And even if you do, to find out why you don't, it's that big word right there is why. That's how we'll have that understanding for each other, for ourselves, and for the human race as it is. All right. Well, as always, I do thank you for tuning in, listening to me, taking time out of your busy schedule. You could have been anywhere listening to anything. However, you stayed here. Hopefully, you stayed here to the end to listen to me. I really, really do thank you because it's people like you who help me to do what it is that I do best. And that is just talking to those who have an ear to listen and a heart of opening and understanding. I have more to say, but I just thought I'd jump on here real quickly to just put that in there. I may go more into it, but the way that I'm feeling right now, I believe enough is said to be heard. And just really wanted to thank you all again for tuning in to the podcast, Topics of Cancer, with your host, me, LaQueer, where we talk about queer topics all the queer time. Why? Because we need to, from the bird's eye view of the Cancerian's perspective of the world. Until then, remember, I love you, you love you, we love you. Be true, be you, unapologetically. All is well.